Braden de la Saint Gratitude III, also known as the Saint Gratitude, is one of the most highest and authoritarian figure in Thomas and Friends, well, in the fandom mostly. People now throw Saint Gratitude around as to saying that he is the most rudest person on the internet. But as people as Saint Gratitude Studios would say, it's much different. Saint Gratitude's history came all the way back in 2017 on a channel called Braden Ditton. However, he was never appeared as he was supposed to be appeared as a Tommy Thomas figure. But it was never appeared as it until 2020 when Braden the E2 Class channel started out. Us people at De La Saint Gratitude Studios have decided to go back and to remaster some of the old shows that were made in Braden the E2 Class channel and at the Braden Ditton channels. Both channels were also going to be linked in the channel blog on this channel too. As said before, we'll be getting to the haters later. Right now, we want to explain the history of De La Saint Gratitude Studios.
Day. Gordon is easily the biggest engine on the island of Sodor who can pull the express.
On November 5th, 2017, a channel uploaded by the name of Braden Ditton who start making Tommy Trackmasters. Today there's only 2, but there were 3 of them currently updated, and there are a couple of shorts still left, still revealing the owner of the channel, Braden Ditton, being the craziest person it is, and that person is me. Right from the get-go, the production started getting a little popularity. However, the channel didn't last long, as a few months later it got shut down. However, the channel didn't shut down. This channel is still the beginning of the production. There was nothing much to say, otherwise almost half the videos were disappeared, and none of them could have been rescued, thanks to YouTube's littlenesses during that year. Retarded enough that you cannot even make it. On November 27th, 2020, Braden the E2 Class production began, starting some few series and shorts. There was 2 series, Braden and Friends and Talking Time with Braden. Braden and Friends was mostly like Thomas and Friends, except it's Braden and his friends, Alan, Kaden, Olivia, Fernando, and Chris, as they adventure in wacky-tacky and most importantly weird universes and alternative universes, and also hanging around with the other Sodor engines. Oh my god. Unfortunately, the second channel, which was the last update of that channel, unfortunately got deleted. But the next channel, Braden the Fast Gratitude E2, or engine, was made. George the Demon Locomotive's reign of terror has to end. On September 14, 2021, this channel was uploaded, and it was the final channel that exists after the last one was deleted. This channel provided more politics than ever. But before we get into that, we need to go back to 2021 during the channel's first creation. During my creation, an old friend that was a Thomas fan back in my old elementary school, her name was Sarah Rush. Sarah used to be a tutor at the school I went to back in Missouri. During the events of Braden the E2 Class channel, I also made some other friends when my channel was shut down. Their names were Eli, Nathaniel, Noah Carlson, and William, also known as Dispam777. Right from the get-go, our friendship seemed fine, until Sarah came into the picture, of course. Sarah has been always a fan of Thomas and Friends, since a child, as she told me a long time. Before Sarah's death, we'll get to that later, she told me she was a huge fan of Thomas fan-made episodes, from Liv's Productions to Nicholas's episodes, but her most favorite was Eli's fan-made episodes, one of which was Train Wars, or something like that.
Edward, well, you got 2 votes, the other got none. Thomas, you got no votes. Oh, come on! Edward, congratulations, you're joining back the game, and you get your Pokeball.
Before we get any further, I want to talk about simping. Simping is giving a person too much attention, but in my words, what Sarah was doing during that time was falling in love too much, and at that time, I usually call her a simp. She really hated me calling that. But I want to talk about it. Simping is wrong and you should never do it. If you like a person, you should say it. If they reject you, go find someone else. I don't know what else to say, really, but it's wrong to do. Sarah, as a person, she literally couldn't stop talking about how she loved Eli because she developed a huge love interest. I was found disgusting by this, but at this time, it was during the time my asexuality became growing. Sarah was 19, while Eli, in my opinion, was probably 10. I really don't exactly know. But he was way too young for Sarah. But Sarah was overwhelming with his narration and his voice acting career. I tried to tell her to just stop because I already knew they were both underage at the time. But she wouldn't stop it. Until one day, it got too far. It was a day I will regret. I woke up one night with a message from Sarah. She was still going on about DMing me, talking about how she loved Eli, and I told her to stop because it was late at night for me. However, I didn't know the timeline in Missouri at the time, so she and me started arguing about her problem in her sipping, until she threatened me to say something I wish she never said. She asked me to get Eli into a relationship with Sarah. I knew Eli was single at the time, but our friendship has been usually private, basically, because we really never really did nothing, because we were just becoming friends. However, I declined millions of times until she threatened me she will not report YouTube to all of my copyrightizations and also destroy my channel's work. I had to do something at the time because my channel was really on the verge of collapsing due to copyright claims at the time. So I had no choice but to agree, and I did it first thing in the morning. A few hours later, I think. I don't really remember. Time is really faster. I just really wanted to forget it during that time. When I woke up this morning, Sarah was overjoyed at saying how much she thanked me. But I felt like I did something wrong. Very wrong. Throughout the years since then, I had to cut all of the episodes and all the stuff. My company was on the verge of collapsing. De La Sainte Gratitude Studios was going bankrupt too, because of the lack of fans that were on the channel at the time. My channel was just becoming more and more powerful due to all of it. During this time, Sarah and me were still having arguments about the relationship with Eli and Sarah was having, until we made an agreement. An agreement that caused an effect onto me and Eli and his friends' relationship crumbling apart. We decided to be online once a time. When one person comes offline and another person, it's like kind of like this, for example. I can't hardly explain it, but this is my example of it. I would go offline, she would go online. I go offline, she goes online. It was much better if we never really talked, but this was the best idea for both of us, since we were really bad enemies at this point, to most importantly to bloodlines. So I agreed it and she agreed it. Nobody really noticed it until a few months later, when Nathaniel, I don't know, Noah or Nathaniel found out about this little offline and online scenario, and he said to Eli about suspicions. But for some reason, Eli, that fury came to his head. Eli soon blocked me and blocked Sarah. Sarah was pissed off and started arguing. Her sister, who I was still in a relationship with, went over to her house, which was located in, I believe was Lamarck or Baycliff, I can't remember. When Rose told me when she entered her sister's house, her house was in a total mess. Everything was all over the ground. Every single thing she had in that house was torn to shreds. She wasn't home though and left the door unlocked. This is an example why simping is so bad to other people when the relationship is cut off. But Sarah took it so bloodily, like her relationship did get back up when I heard about it, but it didn't last only 2 days. All of my other friends, such as like Nathaniel, Dispam77, and Noah Carlson, all blocked me too, as they thought I catfished Eli. I would never do such a thing in my opinion, because I depicted Eli as a great friend of mine, and I really still do. Even if Sarah never came to the picture, it would have been much better to me. And this began Saint Gratitude's reign of terror. But before we get to that, we need to talk about the end of Sarah. Sarah was at a bar one night. She got drunk at the bar and left the bar and was walking down the street. And when she was walking down the street, a truck, as the police say, rammed into her and didn't stop. Police soon arrived after that, and she died, and she didn't make it. They pronounced her dead. She got too drunk and depressed. Her counselor told me that her depression got worsened after Eli broke contact with Sarah altogether. It broke her to pieces. It was also at this time me and Rose's relationship shattered to pieces after her death. We were both mortified of her death, but I was really feel like it was good riddance for her. Not only she blackmailed me, she also simped on I believe a 10-year-old kid that was a Thomas fan. I felt like God was probably just giving her the worst punishment ever. I don't wish for her to burn in hell. She just didn't learn. Like my mother never did.
He is a troublemaker. And I'll add you in a second, Avenue.
The downfall began after many people who were alliance to Nicely 274 to build up to take down the De La Saint Gratitude production, which was called the Saint Gratitude production. Posters' depiction of the great powerful steam train of the Sudrian Union was beginning, of the rise of the Union of Sudrian Socialist Republic, a big giant Eurasian country that with the Soviet Union adding Mongolia, China, North Korea, and the island of Sodor itself. I also don't want to get into much detail to this, since this was the darkest days of Saint Gratitude history. Therefore, I will be skipping over to the end of Saint Gratitude III. Saint Gratitude's reign of terror ended in March of this year. Most people were happy that he was gone, and most fans who were veterans of the St. Gratitude Studios were saddened at the loss of their favorite community. That was very short. After this, De La St. Gratitude was disbanded, and most of the crew went their separate ways. However, many Russian people who were fans of St. Gratitude made fan art, and a bunch of it too, to keep the legend of St. Gratitude alive and his good deeds during 2017 to all the way to 2021. Today, St. Gratitude is now returning of May of this year to restore all the memories of St. Gratitude to fans all over the world, to his great glory backstory, to his victories across the motherland, and his building, and many more of his history. St. Gratitude will never be forgotten by the people who loved the series in 2017 all the way to 2021. When it was going to its end, people supported of the Gratitude regime, and it was really successful because of it, until it downfalled the economy and everything. St. Gratitude will also be returning with a badass new sprite animation from the old sprite animation that was used to remaster a brand new engine, the same class as he was back in 2020. Today he remains as the most powerful steam engine OC ever built it, according to many people who are fans of the Gratitude community. As for the people who still hate me, let me say this. We are entering a new era, and we at De La St. Gratitude Studios want to apologize to the people who we have offended in the past. We never wanted to take this dark turn, but paranoia got the better of us. And I'm here right now to say my apologies. I don't care if you forgive me or not. All I want to say is to be sorry for all the things that I have brought to my dictatorship and many more. And I'm still denying the fact I catfished because I did not do such thing. But I don't want to get into a big another drama again, or even a drama war. Again, like I said, if you don't want to forgive me, that's fine. There are some people in this world who could be forgiving, and there are some people that are not. You know, I always had a saying, no matter who you are and where you're from, if you get popular or not, you are you, and that's what matters the most.